this video we'll see what is vector space, we'll see the definition of vector spaces, and then we'll see what is null subspace is all about, and then we'll try to find out the rank of any given matrix by reducing the matrix into a reduced echelon form. So to do that, we do have two popular methods that we normally use in matrix. One is the row reduction, means the Gaussian elimination matrix elimination method, and then we'll also see how to use this Gaussian Jordan method, okay, Gauss-Jordan method to eliminate elimination method to reduce the matrix to a row reduced echelon form method. Okay, so why do we do this here in vector space? Here is we will try to find out the linear dependent and linear independent vectors for any given vectors. We will try to verify this linear independency or linear dependency. So for that we need the vectors to be represented in a matrix form, and after vectors represented in a matrix form, we will try to apply this particular Gauss-Jordan reduction technique so that the matrix becomes gets reduced into a reduced echelon form, and then for that reduced echelon form matrix we will try to find out the solution, whether it is non-trivial solution or whether it is having an infinite number of solutions or whether it is having no solutions. So based on that we'll decide whether it is linear dependent or linear independent, okay, of any given three vectors or two vectors, whatever they give in the question. Okay, then we'll learn something called as basis and dimension of in vector spaces. So we'll see that later, and then we'll see what is rank nullity theorem, and finally we'll learn something on linear transformation. Okay, so step by step, one by one, we'll try to learn here. So let us first see what is vectors. What do you mean by a vector? So here an ordered n tuple, when I take, so it means a sequence of n real numbers if I take, where that n different real numbers are x1, x2 and so on, xn. Okay, so let us take that n sequence of n real numbers. Those are actually ordered n tuple. Okay, now if I worry about n space, okay, when I say n space, now the set of all this ordered n tuple will become an n space. Okay, so a set of all this ordered n tuple, what you see the above, they become as an n space. Okay, now when I say n equals 1, it means one space. It means set of all real number, whatever we have. When I say n equals 2, it means it is a 2 space. What does that mean? Set of all ordered pair of real numbers, which is x1 comma x2, pair of real numbers, only 2. Okay, when I say 3 space, it means that set of all ordered triple of real numbers. So you get set of all ordered 3 different real numbers, x1 comma x2 comma x3. If I say 4 space, then we go for set of all ordered quadruple real numbers. So it is x1 comma x2 comma x3 comma x4. So this is how we take a space in terms of real numbers when we consider. Okay, now how do you say the given n tuple can be viewed as a point or it can be viewed as a vector? Okay, so when I take n tuple can be viewed as a point, then when I view that particular n tuple as a point, then that two different numbers that we have will become a coordinates. Okay, x1 and x2 will behave as a coordinates here. Now if the same x1 and x2, if I view the diagram or a graph in terms of vector representation, then that x1 and x2 becomes a components of those vectors. Okay, so a components of those vector. So these are the two picture diagram of a point and a vector that you can see here. Vector will always have a direction. Okay, vector will also always have a direction, and that is what you can see an arrow here, where x1 and x2 is a point, and that point will say what is y coordinate and what is x coordinate. Okay, so this is the difference between vector and a point. Okay, from 0 x1 is one vector, from 0 x2 is another vector. So they are x1 and x2 are the components of this particular vector when you view this n tuple as a vector. Now here there can be two vectors. One vector is u, which is equal to u1, u2, u so on un. The other vector is v, which is v equals v1 comma v2 comma so on vn. When I say equal, when I say two different vectors are equal, so if I need to say u equals v, then the condition is if the vector u will be equal to vector v if and only if, okay, if and only if u1 equals v1, u2 equals v2, so on un equals vn. It means that the components of those vectors should be equal such that I can say the two different vectors are equal. Okay, so that is how you can say two different vectors are equal. Now when I am doing vector addition, so you do have two different vectors u and v, and I am doing vector addition. So it means that when I am doing u plus v, I will add the components based on their position. Okay, so I will add u1 with v1, I will add u2 with v2, I will add u3 with v3, and so on. I will add un with vn. Okay, so that is what the components addition here. So vector addition is what? It will add the individual components of those two vectors based on the position of the component. Scalar multiplication. Now here you can't multiply two vectors. We are not multiplying two vectors here. Now if I say multiplication with any vector, we will multiply a scalar element with the vector. Therefore we call it as a scalar multiplication. Now take some value c. Okay, c is some value. That is a scalar component. So you can take c as 1, 2, 3, any value, and multiply that scalar value with u. And how will it get multiplied? The c gets multiplied with each component of that vector u. So that is what we can see here, c into u1, c into u2, and c into so on, c into un. Okay. So therefore the sum of two vectors and the scalar multiple of a vector are called the standard operations in R power n. Okay. So the sum of two vectors and the scalar multiple of vector in R power n are actually the two different standard operations that we perform in a vector space. Okay. Now when I want to take a negative of vector, so it is minus u if I take, so that will convert all components to become negative. Okay, all components of that vector u becomes negative. When I want to subtract two different vectors u and v, so when I am subtracting, I think when I am doing addition, we have seen that components get added based on the position. Here also in difference, the components of the vectors will get subtracted based on the position. So u1 gets subtracted with v1, u2 will get subtracted with v2, u3 will get subtracted with v3, and so on, un will get subtracted with vn. Okay, so that is how the difference of two different vectors will happen. Now if I go for a zero vector is also a vector, keep that in mind. So a zero vector will have all its components, n different components, to be equal to 0. That is the zero vector. So there is a note here which you need to keep in mind. The zero vector 0 in R power n is always called the additive identity. Very, very important. I made that in a green in color. The zero vector 0 in R power n is always called the additive identity in R power n. What is additive identity here is, if you add 0 with v, you will get back v only. You add 0 vector with u vector, you will get back the u vector. So that is what additive identity is all about. Okay, so you add 0 vector with any other vector, you will get back that vector which you are going to add with 0. Okay, the vector minus v is called the additive inverse of v. Okay, you take the negative of vector v, then that becomes an additive inverse of vector v. Okay, so minus u is an additive inverse of u. That is what additive inverse is. Okay, now properties of vector addition and scalar multiplication. There are certain properties which we need to look into, and all these 10 properties are very important for us to understand vector spaces. Okay, so the first property is when I add u and v, now think u and v are the two vectors, and if I add u and v, then that should also be a vector in R power n. Okay, after addition of u and v, that should also be in a vector in terms of R power n. Then you add u and v, then addition of u and v vector should be equal to addition of v and u vector. Okay, then think you have three vectors u, v and w. That is the third property. So you add u and v first and then add with the w vector. That result should be same when you add u with the addition result that you get after adding v plus w, v and w. Okay, that is the third property. What is the fourth property? Add a vector u with a zero vector, you will get back u. That is additive identity property, whatever we have. Add u with negative of u, that is additive inverse. You add u with the additive inverse of u, you will be getting zero vector. Okay, you will be getting zero vector. Then multiply a scalar element c, that is the sixth property you can see on slide. Multiply the scalar element c with u. Then after multiplying c with u, that should also be a vector in R power n. Okay, so that should also be a vector in R power n. The seventh property is multiply a scalar element with the addition of u and v vector, then that should be equal to multiplying the scalar element with these two different vectors individually and then add it. So it is cu plus cv. So you have multiplied the scalar element c with u first, then you multiplied the scalar element c with v then, and then you added the cu and cv. Therefore that should be equal to the result what you get when you add u and v and then multiply that result with c. Okay, and the eighth property is, think you have two scalar elements c and d. Think that you have two scalar elements c and d. Add the two different scalar elements c and d and then multiply it with u. Okay, add that scalar element c and d first, and then you multiply that added scalar element with u. That should be equal to multiplying c with u, then multiplying d with u, and then you add that cu plus du. That should be the result what you get should be equal to c plus d multiplied by u. Okay, the ninth property is you take c, d, two different scalar elements, multiply first d with u vector and then you multiply that with c vector. That should be equal to multiplying the scalar elements and then multiplying with the u vector. Okay, now the final 10th property is unit vector. Multiply a unit vector 1 with u, you will get back the same vector u. Now 0 multiplied by u, you get 0 vector. 1 multiplied by u, so unit vector multiplied by u, you will get back the vector u. Okay, so these 10 properties of vector addition and scalar multiplication is very important and you need to keep in mind while working on vector space. Let us see how to find out x in each of this particular problem following a problem which is being given. They have given u, they have given v, they have given w. Now they are asking to find out what is x vector by considering this u, v and w vector. Okay, so first we'll take the first condition a, which is given as x equals 2u minus v plus 3w. So this is the vector which is given, which is equal to, I can say 2u minus v minus 3w. Therefore this would be equal to 2 into u, which is 2 comma minus 1 comma 5 comma 0. I'll just put the vector whatever I have. Minus v is 4 3 1 comma minus 1, and minus 3 into w, which is minus 6 comma 2 comma 0 comma 3. So this would be equal to 4, so I'll just multiply 2 minus 2 10 comma 0, 2 into 0 is 0, minus 4 comma 3 comma 1 comma minus 1, minus 3 into 6 18, minus 6 minus 0 comma 0, 3 into 2 is 6, 3 into minus 6 is minus 18, comma 3 3 is 9, which is equal to, now to find out an x vector, I'll say 4 minus 4 plus 18. So 4 minus 4 is 0, 0 plus 18 is 18, comma minus 2 minus 4 minus 6 plus 18. So 18 minus 6 is 12. Then I have 10 minus 1 is 9. 9 plus 0 is 9 again. Then I have 0. Minus of minus 1 is plus 1. 1 minus 9, which will be minus 8. So let us look into this example to find out the vector x when vector u, v and w is given. Okay. So let me take vector x here. So the first problem let me take, where x is equal to 2u minus v plus 3w, which is given. So which is equal to 2u minus v minus 3w. Now let me substitute the vector u here. 2 into vector u is 2 comma minus 1 comma 5 comma 0 minus v is 4 3 1 minus 1 minus 3 into w, which is 3 into minus 6 2 0 3. So now if I put this, I'll get 4 comma minus 2 10 comma 0 minus 4 comma 3 comma 1 comma minus 1 minus 3 into 6 is minus 18, 6 0 and 9. So therefore which is equal to so here we got these three vectors which we get after multiplying 2 with this, and we keep this as it is and we multiply 3 with this. So now we can see 4 minus 4. So 4 minus 4 is 0, minus of minus, which is plus 18. So this is 18 comma minus 2 minus 3. So minus 2 minus 3 is minus 5 and minus 6. Minus 2 minus 3 is minus 5 minus 6. So which is minus 11 comma, we have 10 minus 1 is 9 minus 0 is, it's 9 only, comma 0 minus of minus 1, which is plus 1 minus 9 will be minus 8. So this is the x vector for the given problem A. Now coming to B. So coming to B, B says 3 into x plus w equals 2u minus v plus x. So I'll say it is 3x plus 3w equals 2u minus v plus x. So what I'll do is I'll keep x, I'll take x to be in the left hand side. So I'll say 3x minus x equals 2u minus v minus 3w. So 3x minus x is 2x equals 2u minus v minus 3w. So therefore what I'll do now here is I will try to apply u here, which is 2 into u is what? U is 2 comma minus 1 comma 5 comma 0, 2 comma minus 1 comma 5 comma 0 minus v, v is 4 3 1 and minus 1 minus 3 into w, which is minus 6 2 0 3. So this would be equal to 2x equal to 2 2s are 4 minus 4 is 0, minus 3 into minus 6 is 18. So I'll get the first one is 18, comma 2 into minus 1 is minus 2, minus 3, minus 2 minus 3 is minus 5, minus 5 and minus 6, 3 2s are 6, so which is minus 11, comma 2 into 5 is 10, minus 1 is 9, minus 3 into 0 is 0, therefore I get 9 here, comma 2 into 0 is 0, minus of minus plus 1, minus 9, which is minus 8. So I think this equation is same as what we got earlier. Now x will be equal to 18 by 2 divided by 2. So this 2 gets divided with each of this element. So 18 by 2 is 9, minus 11 by 2. 11 by 2 is 5.5, and 9 by 2 is 4.5, comma 8 by 2 is 4. So this is the vector x for the second one. So this example is been shown to you to just see how the vector addition or how vector multiplication or scalar multiplication is done with the vector, so that we can find out the solution for any given vectors to find out any other vector. Okay, fine. Okay, now we'll see what is vector space. Now we'll see what is vector space, and we'll see the definition of vector space. So let V, okay, so here let V be a set on which two operations, okay, let a V be a set on which two operations are defined. So those two operations are multiplication, scalar multiplication and vector addition, okay. So those two operations are vector addition and scalar multiplication. If the following axioms are satisfied for every u, v and w in V, okay, so we have a V which is a set of a vector, or you can say V is a set on which, okay, two operations which is addition and multiplication, vector addition and scalar multiplication are being defined. Now if we have any three vectors u, v and w in that set V, and if they satisfy the following two different axioms in terms of addition and multiplication, then we say those vectors u, v and w are actually called as vector space, okay, or we say V is called as a vector space if the vectors of V, u, v and w will follow the below two axioms. Now what is axioms? Axioms is nothing but rules. What are those rules that the vector u, v and w should follow so that we can call V as a vector space? First thing is the addition axioms are there, which is u plus v. So when you add any two vectors of u, v and w, okay, you add any two vectors out of u, v and w, addition result should also be in V, okay. So addition of u and v should also be in V, or else addition of v and w should also be in V. So you add any two vectors out of u, v and w, that should also be in V. That is the first addition property. Then the second axiom that it should prove is u plus v should be equal to v plus u, okay. You add any two vectors, that should also be equal to adding in reverse order, okay. So you add u with v, that should be equal to adding v with u. Then adding all three vectors in a different way, like u added with v plus w should be equal to u plus v added with w, okay. Now the fourth axiom that it should follow is V as a zero vector such that for every u in V, u plus 0 should also be equal to u, okay. So that is what, for every u in V, u plus 0 should be equal to u if V has a 0 vector 0. Now the fifth axiom here is, for every u in V, there is a vector in V denoted by minus u such that u plus of minus u should also be equal to 0. So if these 5 axioms are been followed by these 3 vectors u, v and w which are present in V, then we can say V is called a vector space. Then we can say V is called a vector space. Now coming to the axioms related to the scalar multiplication. Now you multiply a scalar element C with u. You multiply a scalar element C with u. Then multiplying C with u should also be in V. That is what it says. Okay. You multiply any scalar element C with u. After multiplying, the result should also be in V. You multiply a scalar element with u plus v, then that should be equal to Cu plus Cv. Eighth property is C plus D into U. You take 2 scalar elements C and D, you multiply that with U, that should be equal to C into U plus D into U. Now C into du, so you multiply D with U and then multiply with C, should be equal to multiplication of the 2 scalar elements. The result of that is multiplied with U. And the 10th axiom is 1 into U equals V. I hope all those 10 properties which we have defined earlier in vectors should be followed by these 3 vectors u, v and w which are present in V. And if these axioms are been followed by this u, v and w, then we can say V is a vector space. Okay, so this is the definition of vector space. Okay, so here we can add any 2 vectors and we can multiply all vectors by scalars. So it means that this forms a linear combination. So this forms an equation where we can say that it forms a linear combination of these 3 vectors. Like for example, just now we have found the vector x by taking u, v and w, right? So that x, when we write in an equation format, then we can say x is a linear combination of u, v and w. Okay, so in that particular equation, when x was 2v minus u plus minus 3w, which equation we got earlier in the previous problem when we solved, that says the x vector is a linear combination of u, v and w vector. Okay, so that is what linear combination. So this is a small note. So a vector space will always have 4 entities: a set of vectors, a set of scalars, and then 2 operations performed on that particular vectors. What is that? One is the addition, the other one is the multiplication. Here plus symbol says the vector addition, whereas dot symbol says the scalar multiplication. Okay, so the second property here in the vector space is, if v equals 0, then that vector is called as a 0 vector space. Okay, that 0 is called as a 0 vector space. Okay, so this is all about vector space, and this is what the definition of vector space. Examples of vector space which you can see here. The first example is n tuple space, which we have seen earlier. So let u and v be 2 different vectors, and if you add u and v vector, it means that u1 plus v1, u2 plus v2, so on un plus vn. So that is vector addition. So n tuple space can also be an example of vector spaces. Now you multiply a scalar element k with u, then it goes with k into u1 plus k into u2, k into u1 comma k into u2, so on k into un. So that would be a scalar multiplication. Okay. Now the second vector space example is the matrix space. Okay, so the matrix space. So what is matrix space here? V equals m, where m and n are the matrix dimension. Now for example, if I say m equals n equals 2 here, okay, we'll say u11, u12, u21, u22 is one matrix, 2 cross 2 matrix, which is a square matrix, and the another square matrix is v11, v12, v21, v22. Now we can use these 2 matrices addition, where each element gets added, right? Elements in that particular position, u11 gets added with v11. So it means that the first element of first row and first column gets added with the element which is present in first row and first column. Then first row and second column gets added with an element first row and second column. So that is how the matrix addition will also be performed. So this is something similar to vector addition. Okay, this is something related to vector addition. Similarly, if I multiply a scalar element with any one of this matrix, then all elements of that matrix will get multiplied with the scalar element k. So therefore that comes under scalar multiplication. Therefore matrix will also follow the vector addition and scalar multiplication. Therefore we call it as matrix space. Then we also have another examples, like we have degree, polynomial degree, nth degree polynomial space. Now set of equations like x square plus x plus 2, all those equations comes under nth degree polynomial space. If I have two different polynomials, p of x and q of x, then when I add the two polynomials, you see that the coefficient of those polynomials get added up, right? Coefficients of those polynomial equations gets added up. So a0 will add with b0, a1 will add with b1, where a1 is the coefficient of x of p of x, whereas b1 is the coefficient of x of q of x. So that a1 and b1 gets added up, and similarly you see that an plus bn at the end. Okay, so that is the nth degree polynomial, whatever we see. So if you multiply any scalar value with any of these polynomials, we see that the scalar element gets multiplied with all the part of those polynomial equation. Therefore we can say that even the nth degree polynomial can also be considered to be a vector space. Okay, now the fourth example is the function space. So we can also look the function as a vector space. So what is that? V equals c of minus infinity comma infinity. So that would be an example of some function what we define. So f plus g of x equals f of x plus g of x. This is the first condition. F plus g overall x should be equal to f of x plus g of x. Similarly, k into f of x should be equal to k into f of x. Okay, kf of x should be equal to k into f of x. If these two properties are been satisfied, or if these two conditions are satisfied, then we say even the functions can also be considered as vector space. So these four examples is clear to you, like how we can consider a vector space. So with this video, I hope you people are cleared with the definition of vector space, properties of vector space, and how the vectors are considered to be a vector space. The two axioms like addition and multiplication, vector addition and scalar multiplication. And we have seen what are the different types of vector space that we come across. So there we saw matrix is one vector space, polynomial equations can also be considered as a vector space, functions can be considered as a vector space. Okay, so I hope you got what is vector space. I think you got a brief knowledge on what is vector space, what is a subspace of a vector space. So let us now look into what is subspace of a vector space. Here, when I am speaking about a subspace, first I will consider a vector space. Okay, let me consider a vector space V, which is true for both the operations, scalar multiplication and, so this is scalar dot operation is a scalar multiplication, and plus operation is a vector addition. So let us consider a vector space which will follow these axioms. Okay, now let me take a subspace W. Okay, let me take a subspace W which is a non-empty, which is not equal to an empty subset. It is non-empty subset. Okay, it is non-empty subset which is a subset of V. This symbol says it is a subset of V. Okay, let me take a subspace W which is a non-empty subset which is a subset of V, and if that subset W follows the axioms scalar multiplication and vector addition which is being followed by V, if the subset W which is a subset of V will also follow these operations, okay, which is also defined under these operations, then we can easily say that the W is a subspace of V. W is a subspace of V. So this is the meaning of subspace. Okay. So here W vector V is a vector space which we have considered. Now let us consider a W which is a non-empty subset and which is a subset of V, and if W is also covered under operation vector addition and scalar multiplication, then we can easily say that the W is also a subspace of V. Now a subspace of a vector space is a non-empty subset that satisfies the following requirements. What is that? For a vector space, linear combinations stay in the subspace. Okay, so if we add any vectors x and y in the subspace, x plus y is also in the subspace. So same thing what we have seen in vector space, even in subspace, if we add x and y components of the vector subspace W, which is a subset of V, then x plus y is also in the subspace. Now if we multiply any vector x in the subspace by any scalar element C, then Cx should also be in the subspace. So whatever the properties that we define for vector space, if the subset of that vector space follows the same properties, then we can easily say that that would be a subspace of a vector space. Okay. Now let us prove that. Okay, now let us take this example. Let W be the set of all 2 cross 2 symmetric matrices. Okay, so we all know what is symmetric matrices. Symmetric is something related to a square matrix where the transpose of the symmetric matrix will be equal to the same matrix what you have transposed. That is what the symmetric matrix. So show that. Now let us consider a W is a set of 2 cross 2 symmetric matrices. Now we should show that W is a subspace of vector space M2 cross 2, which is a symmetric matrix which we have with the standard operations of matrix addition and scalar multiplication. So we'll see that now. Now let me take a W. Let me consider a W, okay, which is a subspace of the vector space M2 cross 2. That is what W is a subspace of the vector space M2 cross 2. Now this M2 cross 2 is a vector space. Now let me consider two different matrices here, which is A1 and A2. These are the two matrices. Now which is also belongs to W, means which is both are symmetric matrices. Okay, let me take A1 and A2, which are symmetric matrices. Now if I take transpose of A1, that will also be equal to A1 because it's a symmetric matrix. If I take transpose of A2, that will again give you A2. Okay, so this is the property of symmetric matrix. Now if I take A1 plus A2, if I take A1 plus A2, the whole transpose, if you take, then this will be equal to A1 transpose plus A2 transpose. Okay, so this is also equal to A1 plus A2. You will get again back A1 plus A2. Now if you see, A1 plus A2 will again belongs to the subspace W. Now if you add two different symmetric matrices, you will end up in getting another two symmetric matrices. Okay, so that is the property of symmetric matrices. Therefore this will prove that the matrix addition operation is been proved. Okay, matrix addition operation is been proved. Now coming to scalar multiplication, now you take any scalar element. Now you take any scalar element k, okay, which belongs to some real value, and you try to take matrix A, which is a symmetric matrix. Now you multiply the scalar element with A and take the transpose of that. Okay, that will be equal to scalar element multiplied by the transpose of A, and then that will also be equal to scalar element multiplied by A, because A transpose equals A in symmetric matrix. So therefore when I take K into A, that will definitely belongs to symmetric matrix W. Therefore both addition and subtraction both addition and scalar multiplication is being followed by the subspace W. Therefore, we can easily say that this W is a subspace of the vector space 2 cross 2 M. Okay. So, symmetric matrices, if you take any symmetric matrix you take, and if that symmetric matrix is a subspace of vector space matrix of square matrix, then definitely that W would be a subspace of that particular vector space. Now let me go with singular matrix here. Let me go with singular matrices. I think you should all know what is singular matrices. Singular matrices will always have one single 1 and all other elements will be equal to 0. Okay, one element in any given matrix is 1 and all other elements are 0. Okay, so therefore here we have A and B. Now what is that they are saying? Let W be the set of singular matrices of order 2. Show that W is not a subspace of M2 cross 2 with the standard operation. So therefore they are asking, take W which is a subspace, which is a 2 cross 2 singular matrix, and then they are asking to find out whether W is a subspace or not a subspace of M2 cross 2. Let us look into that. Now I have taken A, which belongs to W, which is a singular matrix. B is also singular matrix, which belongs to the subspace W. Now I am adding A and B. I am adding A and B. Now after addition of A and B, you see, so I will take 1 0 0 0 added with 0 0 0 1, and I will get what? 1 plus 0, 0 plus 0, 0 plus 0, 0 plus 1. So which is equal to 1 0 0 1. Now this is not a singular matrix. This is not a singular matrix. This is not a singular matrix. Therefore that doesn't belongs to W. Okay, adding A and B will not give you a singular matrix. Therefore that doesn't belongs to W. Therefore I can easily say that W2 is not a subspace of M2 cross 2. Okay, so W2 is not a subspace of M2 cross 2. Okay, let us go to the next example to know whether the subspace subsets is a subspace of R cube or not. Okay, R to the power of 3, because we have 3 tuples here. That is the reason we say R to the power of 3. Now W equals x1 comma x2 comma 1, where x1 comma x2 belongs to the space R. Okay, so whether this will be a subspace of R cube, let us see that. Now I'll take x1 x2. Now this is x1 x2 and 1. This 1 should remain as 1. Even you do addition operation or you do any scalar multiplication operation, this 1 should never change. Now what will I do here is, so here the W equals x1 x2 comma 1. So this should be 1 always. Okay, so that is what we need to check. So if I take x1 and x2 to be equal to 0 and 0, and this is 1. Now this 0 0 1 will also belong to W. Now if I take minus 1 into V, for example, if I take a scalar element minus 1 and if I multiply with this vector V, what happens here is, this remains to be 0 0, but this becomes negative of 1. Now here it should be 1 always. That is the subspace of W. So therefore that is the set what we have in W, subset of W. So if it is minus 1, then that doesn't belongs to W, because it should remain as 1 always. So therefore this W is not a subspace, of R cube. Okay. Now coming to the next one, let me take x1 comma x1 comma x1 plus x3 comma x3. Okay, we have 3. We assume that we have 3 columns, where that is the reason we will call it as R cube here. Okay, now let me consider x1 and x3 belongs to R. Now V equals, let me take 2 different vectors V and U. I'll take v1 plus v3 comma v3, and U as u1 plus u3 u3. Now this V and U should resemble this W whatever I have taken. x1 comma x1 plus x3 comma x3. Similarly V equals v1 comma v1 plus v3 comma v3. U equals u1 comma u1 plus u3 comma u3. Now this both, if it belongs to W, then V plus U should also belong to W. Definitely, when I add V and U, you see that V1 plus U1 will be added. V1 plus V3 will be added with U1 plus U3, where V1 will be added with U1, V3 will be added with U3, and V3 will be added with U3. Definitely, the result of this will belongs to the subspace W. Okay, will belongs to subspace W. Now, if I multiply a scalar element K with this V, what will I get? K into V1. So the scalar element gets multiplied with the entire term here. So this will also belongs to W. Therefore, I can easily say that this, whatever we have done, this W belongs to, or this W is a subspace of R cube. Okay. So with this certain examples, whatever I have done, I hope you people are clear with what is subspace is. What exactly is a subspace of a vector space. Okay. So I hope with this video, I think you people are cleared with what is vector space and definition of vector space and what is subspace of vector space, and with some examples you people are clear with what is the exact meaning of subspace. Okay.